Rajesh Madan. I must be in the running for the most boring person of the year award in the world because I don't like to get into crowds. I don't have dinners. I don't have sugar, no non-veg. So I'm a very boring person that way. And professionally, what do? I, along with my team, we help brands stand out and sell more. I have a company, which is a branding and marketing company called The Monks. Don't believe rumors that it was named after old monk. That's not true. I was quite inspired by Robin Sharma's book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. That it was around that time that I launched this company. And I have worked on brands like Tata Tea, Indian Airlines, Adidas, India Today. Bharti Walmart has been one of our clients as well. HCL Technologies, Discovery Channel, these are the kind of brands that I have worked on. And I have set a goal to create 1 lakh jobs at my client's end. So we are keeping track of that. We help our clients grow, and we sort of get a sense, okay, how much they've grown, and so we're keeping track of that. We are almost halfway there. So that's about me. And yes, besides this, I also happen to be, I also happen to employ my creativity in terms of entrepreneurship. I launched a company about 10 years back, which is called Jungly CEO. Jungly CEO was an off-site networking company. What we used to do was we used to create groups of business owners and take them out for networking breaks, and it was highly successful till COVID came and paused. And then I also had launched a handmade desi ghee brand. It was called Meri Gaiya. Okay. Yeah, that again, we sort of took a step back after COVID happened. That it was not really working out during those times. And 5 years back, I launched a book club, which has now become a formal private limited entity. And like I said, it has also got a first round of funding. So that is doing pretty well, and we hold regular book reviews. And that we hold workshops, trainings, author programs, working vacations.
What name?
GrayLeap.
Gray.
It's called GrayLeap. GRAY. Okay. GrayLeap.com is the website. So that's what we do. For example, this particular Saturday. This Saturday we have a workshop on DISC profiling. You know what DISC? It's a personality assessment tool.
Yeah.
It's a personality assessment tool. It's one of the most effective and therefore one of the most popular personality assessment tools across the world. So we are doing that. It's like it will give you gives you the power to read people like an open book. It's that powerful. So that's what we are doing this particular Saturday, and every month we have 2 or 3 such programs, either book reviews or this or that. That's what we do. So branding and marketing, it's such a huge field. Today what I have selected is what I call the brand foundation. Depending on the time, I will either talk about both the aspects or just one aspect. We'll come to that. Yeah. So broadly, this is who I am, and I completed 30 years this May, and this is this is not 16-year-old. Yeah, this is 16-year-old, and that's an 18-month-old company in the vertical hardware factory. Okay, this is months, and this is hardware factory, right? So introductions out of the way. What constitutes brand foundation. Broadly, two aspects according to me. What is the very base of the brand? One is the name, and the other is the visual identity, the two part of it. Right? And this brand foundation is one of our specializations. Is one of our specializations, and we do this pretty regularly and quite well, I must say. So first things first, before we get to coining name or designing logo, a lot of groundwork comes before that. Many people do not even realize it. I just got a WhatsApp message just now from someone I know. Oh, can you suggest me some names for my company? Okay. Now, come on now. It's like asking your photographer, oh, can you take a snap?
When people started compromising on the employee side, directing the salaries, firing people, I sold my cars. I had 2 cars. I sold my cars to pay off, the salaries and all. But I still don't feel that I should have another car. I've not bought any car in the last 2 years.
So there you go.
I have reserves which can easily give me any sort of a car. But I'm not buying it because I feel that one is that my choice is that I should not compromise lesser than anything which is below Fortuner, which is a capital of 450 lakh rupees, right? On top of it, I also feel that I need to have a driver which will cost me 20,000 rupees. My travel expense from Ola and Uber is equivalent to the car maintenance cost, and driver is free of cost.
Exactly.
Driver is free of cost.
Yeah.
So to be very honest, on top of it, it's just an example for the young kids. Probably you will take a lot of decisions in the future also. So one is that I thought there is an economical balance which says that if your expenses, which is your personal expenses, is more than 6% of the earning which you do, that is not the right decision for you. I mean, if you are making 1 crore rupees annually, probably 6 lakh rupees becomes your luxury car, your show off car, right? Another aspect of it, that I bought one flat, then I bought another big flat along with the old flat, then I bought a villa, right? Now I see that this villa is not meeting my expectations. Now if I put another 3 crore rupees in some properties, I found out a rented property now. I'm shifting out to the rented property very soon, right? Which is 7 crore rupees property, and I'll be paying just 50,000 rupees on that. Now I have the kind of luxury lifestyle I can maintain out there, and tomorrow I have an option to go to the bigger place also. I'll not be sentimentally associated with this property.
Exactly. So no sentimental attachments is what the young generation is talking about.
You are buying experience.
The young generation doesn't want to own anything.
They don't want to own
They only want to
anything.
use and chuck. That's it. The moment this model is over, get rid of it. Get another model.
They also don't want to own a wife.
Nothing.
We are getting into digital.
It's the other way around. The wife doesn't want to own a husband, sir. It's the other way around.
Yes.
Dynamic is inverted now.
I could never have imagined that
Things turned out as
the
very
talk on branding would lead to that.
That is the beauty of Thursday.
Now I'll give you one situation. You're going to a party where you're almost drunk, and then you're sitting in your car and you had an accident, might be an accident.
Almost
right?
drunk?
Right.
We'll have an choice.
Right. For example, the same thing. Somebody who's driving for you, you're sitting at the back and sleeping. Which one is better?
Pretty hard choice.
Which one is better? I don't hesitate going parties nowadays because I don't drive.
But ठीक है भाई, जिस दिन दारू पिएगी उस दिन गाड़ी उबर मंगा लेगी भाई.
When you're sentimentally attached to somebody, you'll go with your own car. That's a problem.
When Apple was launched, that I'm sure you all know that famous film 1984. That has anyone seen that film?
No.
It's so this was a film which was a 1-minute film. It was run only once during the Super Bowl.
Okay.
there's actually to give you a context, there was a book by George Orwell called 1984,
Yeah.
which talks about
I just
Animal
mentioned
Farm.
biscuits.
yeah.
Yeah, it talks about a dystopian world.
Yeah. So in the film, there's a huge screen, and we see a kind of a dictator-like figure who's telling everyone what to do, what not to do, blah 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 blah. And these very robotic kind of almost zombie-like people who are just sitting there, looking at the screen like obedient little dogs. And in walks a runner with a hammer in her hand, an athlete, and she runs towards the screen and she throws the hammer at the screen and it breaks the screen and says, "Soon you'll realize why 1984 won't be like 1984." So this was
Launch
done in
of
1983. It was run only once, by the way. this
Okay.
film. And this is at the time before internet and so people did not even see it again till the time it was revived on YouTube. So you can watch it now. Right? So that gave them a brand story. It was a challenger brand to Microsoft.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was
Because-
an Apple launching itself.
Yeah, Apple launching it.
1984.
Yeah. So you can search for it.
So I can say when I launched Kutir Apple
Mm.
Yeah. Coming to next one is personal use. So
Yeah.
people who have been to Kutir,
Yeah.
who have actually personally experienced it, for them it will be memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you one more example. The moment we were deciding the name for our first entity, which is Corpsey, right? So we started discussing with, my brother, myself, asking myself a lot of questions. Then we realized that if we are a legal management consulting firm, so there are Luthras and Luthras, there are family names to it, a lot of people have good names, but how are we going to make the difference, right? Then we said corporate and seal, attach it, which became Corpsey. Now, in my competition, there are 200 companies which are starting with Corp. Although they are not surviving in the market, that is a different story. But yes, this name was picked up for other competitors also, that this will make an impact to the public.
Pan Am, FedEx.
Yes,
Union.
everybody says what does Corpsey mean? The moment sales guy explains them, they definitely give us the orders. Because corporate ka seed is something which they put in.
That's
Maybe.
So let's continue after this.
So these are the naming mistakes you can't afford anymore. Names of persons, names of gods or gurus, words that have wrong connotations, acronymizing your brand name too soon. This is something that lots of.
But we started with that.
Got it.
You do CA.
So what happens is that because you are living and breathing that name day in and day out, for you it might seem, acronym also must make perfect sense, but with customer it is just a cut and dry some letters.
We have to
there.
explain
So,
it to the customer.
Because Mahashandi Hatti also took many years before it evolved to MDH, right? Pan Am also, even though it is not exactly an acronym, but they also evolved from Pan America to Pan Am after many years of operations, right? And now these days names which are not
This is
available.
most important.
Most important.
Available है या नहीं पहले देख लो.
So brand name success story. This all everyone must be knowing.
Thumbs up.
So when Ramesh Chauhan sold this to Coca-Cola, what exactly did he sell? He did not sell the factory.
Okay.
He did not sell the machinery. He did not sell the manpower.
Okay.
He did not sell the land.
He sold the formula.
He did not.
No, only the brand name.
The brand
Only
name.
the brand name.
Formula भी नहीं बेचा.
Na-
फॉर्मूला का अलग से उसने लिया उसको.
हाँ.
फॉर्मूला का अलग लिया. But some for I think $30 million he sold. Then of course we all know this success story.
Not bad.
Sabir Bhatia.
Yeah.
There's a very interesting anecdote that he had gone when Bill Gates had invited and called him over that I want to buy Hotmail. He had gone with a figure in mind that if I get, I'll try to get this kind of a figure.
And he got 10 times of that.
And Bill Gates quoted twice of that, and he said no, and it got him thinking that if he's quoting twice to begin with, it must be a lot more. So he said, I want more time to think about it. He came back and quoted 10 times and he got it.
Okay.
So what is so special about this this brand, this name? Can anyone guess? Why was Bill Gates so adamant that I want, if I have to launch an email service, I have to launch it with this name?
Catchy name, Hotmail. I mean, that's what. Short.
Anyone else? It had the letters HTML in it.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
clever.
So clever.
So, but was it the idea when Sabir named it?
Yeah,
That was his idea when he named it.
it was the first HTML based email.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know that.
I also didn't.
Great addition.
Great
to my
insight.
awareness.
So why are brand names more important than ever? Yes, more competition, global outreach, and these days you have internet, so it becomes all. And because it's small business, for small businesses, it becomes all the more important.
Otherwise,
Why?
no recall.
Exactly. You do not have the marketing muscle of a big company.
Yeah.
Many times it will be just your brand name which has to carry the day for you.
Whatever little bit people remember for Thursday, the Thursday thing is because it's
Yeah,
catchy.
it's so catchy.
You also said, I would like to know more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get away with a lot because of the name.
Yeah.
It makes everybody think it's larger than life.
Right.
You know, I could have launched my personal same kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I
No,
said,
no, seriously,
TTD is very,
the
very.
Thursday thing, I imagine like there will be a big
100
50 people at least.
We will get there.
Well, of course. I'll
And I was fortunate enough to be the first speaker.
He was the first speaker when we launched online because second wave came.
Acha.
Then we restarted recently. This must be the 11th or 12th,
Yeah.
the Thursday thing.
All right. So there are 6 kinds of brand names. This is one. Examples?
Tata,
Yeah.
Bata,
Adani.
Byju's.
Ambani.
Yeah. Byju's is not a founder name.
It
Is
is
it?
Ravindran
Oh, I didn't know
Pagashi.
this. I didn't know this. See. Descriptive names.
But since it was a different, otherwise Akash was merged to Byju's because of Akash was a different local name. Byju's is a different thing. I mean,
Descriptive names kaun sa hai? Which descriptive? Like there's
TCS.
pro cleaners.
Pro
Pro
cleaners.
cleaners. It's
First
a
class.
descriptive
Yeah,
name.
First class.
TCS.
TCS.
Tata Consulting.
No, that's not a descriptive name.
Founder name.
Well,
I'll
describing the business.
I'll come to that.
The
That's also
name
different.
describing the
Hot
business.
seed is a.
I will quote you one example on top of it. I have booked the domain name 8.5 years ago, and I'm still, I'm trying to, keep it.
Find a company for that.
Right. The concept was that whenever there will be online distribution of e-commerce liquor distribution, so I will participate into it first, right?
Acha.
So that name is called as Booze Deal.
Booze
Huh?
deal.
Booze Deal.
Booze deal.
Right.
Booze
It's
deal.
there with me for the last 8
Booze
years.
deal. Booze deal.
Deal.
Yes.
So, sir, there's a Hindi
Whenever there will be e-commerce.
double meaning connotation to that.
Goods deal.
Right. So you can even participate in restaurants, and you can also deliver, the liquor at doorstep.
That's a good name. That's a good name.
Right. 7 years.
Good name. Good name.
Blinkit is also
Hey, you have .com with it?
descriptive.
Yeah.
तो internationally launch कर दो.
Yeah.
Internationally
अब
launched कर
4 सालों में सर 4 साल में यहाँ पहुँचा है, तो अभी 4 साल और तो बहुत कुछ करूँगा. It's been just 4 years now,
Great.
and out of which 2 years was lockdown.
Right. So one example of descriptive names is what we did for Bharti Walmart. When they had come to India, they wanted to launch these wholesale stores. Best price.
Best price.
That's a descriptive name.
So Aditya, priceless is a descriptive name.
Yeah. We have a brand.
Then there's fabricated. Corp series is a fabricated name. FedEx,
Right.
Pan Am, Amex, these are all fabricated. Yeah.
There's another brand I have another. It's a private limited company, 6 years old company, and name is there. I and my brother, when we were into job and all, we were always talking about how to become an entrepreneur, right? So then the first company which we thought was pre-culture. So we thought that we will create an e-commerce where we will preserve the culture. Let's suppose Nagaland people wanted their spices to be delivered in Delhi, so we will participate in that sector. But then the moment we started figuring it out, marketing acquisition cost of the customer in e-commerce, we said, oh, this is not the right time. We'll do it later on, but it's still there with us, pre-culture.
Then there are metaphoric names. Metaphor would be Apple. Apple is not really a metaphor. Apple, I would say it was
Like when you use things like rush, that's what.
I'll give you an example. Nike.
Yeah.
Nike is a metaphoric. It's the goddess of victory.
Oh.
So it's a metaphor for a sports brand. And what a
Atlas.
Atlas, yes. Yeah. Atlas is brilliant, another brilliant metaphor. So these are the 7 steps to evaluate the name idea. Is the name distinctive? Does the name support your brand positioning? Can the name stretch? Means if you want to get into related fields,
Related
it still
brands.
be relevant.
Sub-brands.
Yeah. For
whatever.
example, when I launched that ghee brand, Meri Gaiya, I had this thinking, okay, other dairy products also can
Right.
get into it.
Yeah.
But it was definitely not, if I had thought of launching, say, vegetable supermart, in that it won't have been relevant. I did launch a honey brand also then, but it obviously did not fit into Meri Gaiya. So that I called nomadic bee because there's a limitation. So how much can it stretch? Yeah. Are there any negative connotations? Now we were talking about negative connotations just now. Can you defend the name? Means is the URL available? Is the trademark available? Is the name easy to spell and pronounce? And is the name sticky? Is it memorable? So the second part is the visual identity. Okay, visual identity. So 4 essentials of great logo. What is the KISS principle?
Keep it simple and stupid.
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. So the simpler a design is, the more powerful it is going to be. Look at this. Can you see the C in it?
Yeah.
No, not
Yes.
easy. Yeah, but you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
White wala C
White.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the negative space.
And 4 kya hai?
4. No, car 4 is a French wholesale.
वो तो है.
this thing.
It's only
खाली
C.
C
C
दिखाना
is,
था.
हाँ,
Okay.
yeah,
And the French flag colors.
yeah, French black.
Yeah.
And this is something that we designed. This is a Singapore-based business coach.
Okay.
I've seen this before.
You've seen this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, some ad or social media or somewhere.
Simplicity is such a simple graphic, but there are 4 angles to it.
Okay.
One chocolate to anyone who gives me all 4. 4 interpretations to this design.
Okay. One is the person, of course.
Hi, a person jumping with joy?
Yeah.
Correct. Damn.
Yeah.
Fire.
Person, of course.
Fire. It's a flame. Yes.
Yeah.
2 more. Ganesha.
Ganesha, yeah.
Yes. And the small letter B.
Small letter B, better version.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Small letter B.
Yes.
B.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Of better word.
Yeah.
Such a simple, bare minimum design can have so many interpretations, and all are relevant. And the Ganesha one is especially relevant because the guy was of Indian origin, so it gave him a story to stand on. It gave him a story to stand on. Ganesha is the god of wisdom. Ganesha is the god of beginnings.
New beginnings.
And better versions was all about that knowledge transfer.
And maybe another example to it would be that last year only I got to know that Fortis, the logo of Fortis, if somebody can maybe pull it out there only, or maybe Fortis logo, it has a beautiful message, but I got to know after, maybe Fortis logo. You see, I mean, probably people can guess then. Now, if you look at Fortis, का जो logo है, it's two caring hands, which is protecting a man in between.
Okay.
Nobody might have realized so far, but
You're right.
The negative side is
it's two hands protecting a man in human.
Right.
Now I can't unsee it.
Yeah, very good message. It's a hospital, one of the biggest hospitals.
Very nice. When you said, then that is visible.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was not.
Otherwise,
What the logo says. आगे चलो.
oh, I know.
Coming to the power of simplicity, the biggest brand in the world.
Church.
Red Cross.
Spades,
Red
spades.
Cross.
No.
Church.
Charity.
The church.
Roman
Church.
Catholic.
Church.
Roman Catholic. Roman Catholic.
Church.
Anyway, if you really look at it, this is the biggest brand. It has its logo, it has its story, it has its legacy, everything is there.
Everything is there in that.
Yeah. So second point, make it unmistakably unique. Yeah. So how do we do that? Examples.
That we've done.
Toblerone. How is this unique?
So there
There's
is
a
that
fox, there's a
bear.
horse.
There's a bear.
There's a bear.
Why?
And-
The origin city of Toblerone, bear is the mascot of that city.
And
So they
and
put
a
the bear.
mountain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Playboy.
Yeah.
Playboy.
Unique.
Yeah,
Look at this.
HK.
HK.
Yeah. They found a
Place
yeah.
where-
Acronym.
And this is something that we designed for a wealth manager.
Growth
Nest.
nest.
Yeah.
Wealth solution.
Eggs.
Yeah.
Make it unforgettable.
Love it.
This is another thing that we did. This is a marijuana rolling paper.
Okay.
It's a big business in US these days
Mhm.
because that has been legalized in
Correct.
most of the states.
Correct.
So the name and logo both were done by us.
Okay.
Puff in.
Okay.
Okay, so it's relevant, and puffin is the name of this bird,
Bird.
which is native to US and Canada.
Okay.
So it became the mascot of the brand.
Lovely. They would have jumped with joy, right?
नहीं कई बार क्या होता है कि यू हैव टू
समझाने में।
ऐसे में इसमें भी उनको 1.5 महीना लग गया इसको अप्रूव करने में. So sometimes they jump and sometimes because the name is so radical,
Yeah.
it takes a while for them to really digest the enormity of it.
Correct.
For example, a play school brand came to us saying that we want to launch India's largest school of play schools. So it has to have these kind of values, that it has to be about respect, it has to be about pampering, it has to be about this and that and that and that. अच्छा, by the way, हमारे एस्ट्रोलॉजी ने बोला D से शुरू होना चाहिए. Anyone else would have been, really shaky on that. कि so many restrictions. But I said, उसने D की बात की है ना, this will actually work in our favor.
Huh?
This will actually work in our favor because it really dovetails all our
एक
efforts.
लेटर दे दिया हमें.
हाँ,
बाकी
उसी के आसपास ही करना है.
हाँ, बाकी 25 हमें देखना ही नहीं है.
तो वो जब आया, उसको नाम प्रेजेंट किया, he was stunned for 2 minutes or so. He just looked at the screen because he was expecting name like Dandelion or that kind of a thing. The name that we had given him was Dadima. It was completely different from what he expected.
Yeah.
कहते ये क्या दे दिया? And
Sold.
हाँ, मतलब वो घर पहुंचा, उसको डाइजेस्ट हुआ, फिर उसने फोन किया कि हाँ. Okay. okay, this was my brand.
Very good. Yeah, very
This is
nice.
my brand.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Really
nice.
pretty.
And make it versatile. Yeah.
Speed and all that.
Mastercard.
मास्टरकार्ड में क्या है मतलब ऐसा?
No, versatile in the sense कि वो
Simple
use-
है, but
use-
बड़ा
its
effective है.
usage can be in so many ways. Na? Look at the way it gets animated and all that. You know, different media can be used in different ways. So these are some
Okay.
colors. You know, each color has a little story
Yeah.
and why to use those colors. So what your brand stands for, you have to be very careful in the colors that you pick for
Right.
that. Yeah.
Google लिखिए.
So these are what all these colors
Yeah.
stand for.
Just one question I had. Now, you've been primarily talking about companies and entities and brands and corporations, right? When it comes to individuals, do the same rules apply?
Good question.
Yeah.
So that comes under personal branding.
Right.
And yes, a lot of the rules, there are, I would say, overlaps. Okay. For example, personal branding, there is the brand persona would be the person himself. That is one caveat to it. There is, you don't need to anthropomorphize for it.
Yeah, because you have-
And throw.
You have a living entity. Right.
Right.
We understood.
You don't need to do that.
Right.
Plus, the way you talk, the way you dress, all these things will come under the personal brand. Of course, what you do and what you talk about, वो तो होगा ही, but these things also will come under. For example, you will see politicians, even such a thing like whether they have a beard, whether they have a 1 week old stubble, or whether they are clean shaven, they make sure to have that consistency, unless that they are deliberately moving away from it. Yeah. And what kind of
No, I mean, politicians and godmen aside, say a Shiv Khera,
Haan.
one example, right?
Haan.
And of late, in the past decade, he's suddenly become this big thing,
Haan.
right? And he's gone kind of quasi-spiritual.
Right.
So I'm not sure which space he wants to be in, management or spirituality or corporation, but yeah, he's kind of, he's trying to incorporate all of them into his gig, right?
Haan.
Now, what has he done,
Haan.
which is so exceptional to bring him where he is? Other than his corporate background, fine, that is all right. Other than that,
See,
His
someone like
marketing.
Shiv Khera, his personal brand will be almost inseparable from what his entity does. They are into all these motivational talks and all these conferences. In those cases where it is coaches and all that, they do not have it's very difficult to separate the two entities. For example, there's this business coach called Paritosh Pathak. I don't know how many
yes,
you
of course.
Yeah.
Seen his videos.
heard of it. Heard of it. So he's a good friend also. And
Paritosh is a friend.
so he had approached me for his personal branding and said, okay, what name should I put in and all that. I said, yeah, forget all that. Your brand name, your personal branding should be Paritosh Pathak International. And that is what he's running with. And I had given it to him about 8 years back. So इनके केस में वो चीजें अलग-अलग नहीं हो पाती.
So I think like they like Shiv Khera also started with, I mean, whatever he was, he came up with a book, right? That book became famous.
Right.
Stephen
So it's
Stephen Covey.
marketing, it's making yourself famous as a brand. And
Yeah.
that's what then creates him as a persona.
Yes, so how do you make yourself famous as a brand is my question.
Yes.
That is my question. If supposing I want to be a brand tomorrow, I've been trying to be a brand for a bloody long time. I'll be quite honest, right? It's not happened, it's not clicked. Now what am I missing out
How How
to
you
make it
dress, it
slick.
has to be consistent.
Aditya, one second. I'll just tell you.
May the expert speak
No, no,
if you
can
don't
I
mind.
speak?
Yeah, if you
Can I
don't
speak?
mind. Yeah,
Can I
sure.
speak? If you're already famous.
Sorry?
I said I like your approach, be blunt, so that
Yeah,
you know,
because I don't know when I'll get to meet this gentleman again.
So I'll get
Simple.
it. If you're already famous, your name, you already have a name, people know you by that name. Use that name as a brand. That's what he's saying. If you're not famous yet, create a brand, make it famous. It may not be your name, not necessarily, or you, or whatever, but create another brand, create a brand for yourself. Right? So that's what Shiv Kela is already a brand. So he doesn't need to create another brand for himself.
I get that.
But his question is slightly different. What you're saying makes sense, but what he's saying is, see, Shivkara is already there, so he obviously does. But when he was not there, at some point in time, he must have, just like Paritosh Pathak was at that crossroads, he must have also been at a crossroads. What is my brand? How should I project myself? So I think, if I'm not wrong, that was.
You must have done something. What did you do? That's what is the question.
Yeah, first thing is that he realized very clearly that my brand is me. The kind of trust, the kind of expertise that I bring to the table, the way I talk, what I talk about, all those are what constitute my brand. So therefore, my brand is nothing else. It is Shiv Kela. And for a lot of reasons, it makes a lot of sense for personal brands, to go with their own name as a brand. Where they want to make their own, the respect that people have for them, to rub off on what their company is doing. Ambani, for example, Tata's.
But अंबानी के नाम से कोई ब्रांड तो नहीं बना।
हाँ?
अंबानी के नाम
अंबानी जो कंपनी जो उसने एस्टैब्लिश की, ये was already enjoying a lot of respect now. Tata was also a good, he was an established businessman. He had a story behind him.
Yeah.
So it makes it's.
I have a question.
Huh?
So one second. He basically wants to know also, Adi said or Aditya said, how does he become a famous brand? I think that's as a filmmaker, on the posters he's offering, how does he become a famous brand?
Something like that. Not necessarily as a filmmaker, but more as an educationist.
More as an educationist.
Yeah, because that's what I've been primarily dabbling with in the past few years, and I think the feedback I get from the market is excellent. And a lot of people have been saying, why don't you, capitalize on this and monetize it and turn this into a thing. I don't know how to turn this into a thing.
So you should have found us earlier and come to us.
I don't know what the hell you do. You keep doing different things on a daily basis. I don't know what all
We
you're doing
did a
here.
festival where we presented NIT filmmakers. We did a festival on teaching filmmaking. So that's why you have to keep track of what people do.
Do you blog, sir?
I used to, not very often, but yes, I used to, yes. I need to do more of that, kind of lazy probably, yeah.
See, the only way any person becomes a brand is by projecting himself or herself as a thought leader in the field, right? And these days it's, even though it is quite a cluttered space, but I would say thanks to internet, it is also possible for everyone to do it. Otherwise, इससे पहले तो possible ही नहीं था.
I have a query here. Is the blog today still better or the LinkedIn newsletter? Now LinkedIn you are allowed to send out a newsletter which reaches to all the people and it reaches your inbox. Because I find those newsletters really fantastic and I've been sharing with my team and they read it. And we've been wanting to start a newsletter. We're debating, should it be a newsletter? We've cancelled the blog out. Should it be a typical newsletter or a LinkedIn newsletter?
Who reads these days?
Everybody reads.
No, you shouldn't say everybody, but yes, still large number of people
But
still.
is that really a choice? Why not both?
So I wanted to do both, so thank you. She's going to do it. She's laughing at
No,
the
because
word.
it is not a case of either or in this case.
Once the content is created,
Content is already. The value letter that I send on selling to the soul. I duplicate a lot of stuff on my blog, which is sellingtothesoul.com. Even though there are other things also over there, but
create that niche of a thought leadership in the space wherever you want to
this
be.
value letter goes, और कहीं ना कहीं वो मेरे वो blog में भी वो reflect हो जाता है.
So you're saying जो भी हम content डालें, we
वो
can
मेहनत
use
तो हो गई ना. Exactly.
2-3 methods of reaching out to the
Exactly.
public.
That content.
Whatever appeals to whomever.
Exactly. That content, what you want to say is there. You want to, then what you have is in front of you a write-up, right? Now write-up है, इसका मेल बन सकती है, इसका LinkedIn आर्टिकल बन सकता है, इसका ब्लॉग बन सकता है, तब कुछ ही कर लो ना. It's hardly a fraction of effort extra.
Got
Then
it.
see, look at that content, see whether it can be turned into a short film. You know, just you talking, put it on YouTube, put it, make it into an Insta reel.
Break it into pieces.
What you want to say is already there. The more platforms you are using, the faster
broadcast it,
the
the
faster your brand will develop. And
I'll give you a small example of branding exercise that we did a few days back. There's a gentleman called Vinny Jain.
Vinny Jain,
You know him? Okay.
Reiki healer.
He's a Reiki master.
I know him.
Yeah, okay.
He was
So-
in my BNI chapter.
Yeah, so we looked at him. He's like common guy, common name. So we said what to do. He's going to create a Reiki workshop. Reiki, and so what happened? So we said, I thought, so क्या करें? What are you going to do? You're going to talk about mind, body, and soul, and then create this workshop. I've just taken mind का MI, body का BO, and soul का SO, and created me, both soul, mind, body, and soul, and
Okay,
we
show
create the
the-
logo. You can see
The
this how we
workshop
done.
will be a
For
marketing.
Vinny Jain. Vinny Jain's name comes much later, but me, both soul has been created for him. So this is small.
So that becomes his workshops.
This is workshop. This is what we done. So we also do a little bit choti see.
Effort.
So that's what I was trying to say. All
This is what
creativity
we've
belongs.
created.
You got it. We all got
And
it.
there must be a reason. I think Hrithik Roshan is not his real name, and I think Hrithik Roshan is not the real name. It's Hardik something.
HR.
So there's some reason, I think.
No, he has the Roshan lineage.
Yes.
Whether he's called Hrithik or he's called anything.
Yes.
He's got that lineage from his grandfather's
People
side.
just say Yusuf Khan was Dilip
He's
Kumar.
born to it.
Anybody? Roshan. You guys know?
What?
Kids.
They know Hrithik Roshan.
You know only Hrithik Roshan. You know his father? Rakesh.
Rakesh Roshan.
Who is Rakesh Roshan's father? He is the real Roshan. He used to write songs.
He's a lyricist.
Lyricist. Right? Roshan के गाने देखना कौन से हैं पुराने वाले गाने हैं. Rajesh Khanna used to sing them. Kishore Kumar and Rafi. Roshan. Same thing with Bachchan. Same thing. It's not his real name. Bachchan is Srivastav. Harivansh Srivastav is the real name. Harivansh Rai Bachchan ban gaya. क्यों? Takhallus. Pen name. Real name of Amitabh Bachchan is Inqilab Srivastav. Anybody here? So it was Faiz Ahmed Faiz who named him because of his father's poet. The सारे poet थे. उन्होंने इसका नाम रखा Inqilab because he was born around that time when there's so much of Inqilab in the country. So he was known as Inqilab Srivastav, and then he became Amitabh Srivastav, and then Amitabh Bachchan.
Great idea.
So I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So are SEO friendly cliche words are better, or unique names with a low budget which are non-SEO friendly?
See, you will not be able to create brands out of SEO friendly common words. पहली बात तो ये है कि उसका आपको ट्रेडमार्क ही नहीं मिलेगा. Those generic words will not get trademark.
नहीं, कुछ वर्ड जैसे हम दो को यूनिक कर एक साथ मतलब मर्ज करके
तो
को जॉइंट बना के वो कर लेंगे.
वो फिर तो यूनिक हो ही गया ना फिर.
नहीं,
अगर
like
conjoin करके-
for example there is startup tales and then there is example startup lanes, so it's very common. दोनों SEO friendly है but दोनों बहुत common है, तो how will we differentiate?
Startup lanes is easier, became more famous and has become number 3 today.
Yeah.
Startup tales is not easy, it's tongue twister also and does not tell, it talks about, if you hear the word, it talks about कि वो कहानी बताएगा. While startup lane says कि आपकी journey ले जाएगा.
But
So
that should not be the only thing that a name. It will also depend on the work that both of them have done.
No, she's comparing the two.
No,
So
I'm just saying. मतलब मेरा कहने का मतलब है
वही है.
कि दोनों ने जितना काम किया है, हो सकता है स्टार्टअप लेन में वो स्टार्टअप्स के बारे में बहुत ज्यादा काम किया हो और स्टार्टअप टेल्स ने कम काम किया हो.
हाँ,
तो
but
सिर्फ खाली नाम से फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, राइट?
But her question is slightly different.
नहीं, वो keywords, you're going by
Yeah.
What
keywords.
she's
not-
saying is what can become what has the promise to become a bigger brand? Is it a common word which is SEO friendly or a unique word
With
Right.
low budget.
with
Low
low
budget.
Does budget come into the
Budget
picture?
is-
For advertising, maybe for marketing.
नहीं, but low budget can apply to even common words ना. So budget का हम वो that's a different discussion altogether. But yes, unique words definitely because say for example मेरी गैया, that brand, that type. Wherever we participated, just the fact that it was so unique. It was evocative, yes, but it was so unique to have a brand name of that kind. We were charging about 1.5 times more than what any other ghee brand, handmade ghee brand was selling in those organic markets. But people were happy to pay. If it was a very common kind of word, एक common word में ये होता है unless and until it is a very evocative word, and then it is a different matter. But common words normally don't evoke much.